Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Edge of Show live in Singapore at Token 2049. We're a special party that we're a media partner for. Shout out to Input PR for this partnership. And I'm pleased to be with someone who's tackling one of the less flashy yet most critical challenges in Web3, which is fraud prevention. So it's great to have Pascal Podvin, co-founder and CRO of Ensure.ai on the show.
Josh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some of the aspects of crypto adoption that's not covered. Obviously, we talk about bridges, we talk about wallets, exchanges. That's the sort of part of it, the user experience. But there's also this thing called fraud prevention, because when fraud gets in the news, it's kind of a buzzkill.
So that's kind of the point. I mean, if you want my mother to be buying crypto tomorrow, you need to make sure that she feels secure, she feels safe. And that's where payment fraud prevention is hugely important. Now, the other thing is, if you think about crypto, it's an environment where the digital good aspect of it and the immediate delivery acts like a magnet to fraudster. You just get a stolen credit card, you buy crypto with it, you receive the crypto immediately, it goes into your wallet, and you walk into the sun.
It's a digital equivalent of pickpocketing.
Exactly. And so there's a massive fraud pressure on crypto, and that's the reason why payment fraud prevention is so important.
So there's the fundamental sort of challenges with fraud, and then there's the friction around the right type of KYC, the right type of verification, and avoiding those failed verification processes where you're submitting your data over and over again. So how are you all tackling that?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's important to obviously remind the market that KYC is mandatory. You cannot do without it. But it's a killer in some way.
It's like an extra 5 clicks on a website, you know?
But that's the point. So there are ways to streamline KYC. There are ways to make it more effective. We're working with customers who've managed to streamline KYC and take it down to just a 7-second process. There are exceptions, there are out of scope situations, and you want to make sure that you eliminate that friction. If you want mass adoption, look at it this way. You've spent a lot of marketing dollars to create that very first element of trust that will make the user want to buy from your exchange. If, as they come, you subject them to an awful process to verify their identity, you're going to lose them, and 80% of them will never come back.
So it seems like what you're going for is very similar to what it's like at airports. It's highly secure, where you're going through customs, you're scanning your passport, you do the eye scan, and you're in and out, right? So how do you do that at scale with KYC and AML? And what are some of the lessons you've learned in terms of getting to that $150 billion sort of transaction level and processing? And congrats for that. But are there scalability challenges along the way that you've managed to, I guess, overcome?
So there are multiple questions in your question. First of all, as far as KYC is concerned, if you look at the way fraud prevention was working just 10 years ago, it was all a question of authenticating digital identities. So the name of the game was to make sure that the person pretending to be Josh online was really Josh. And if we had a certain level of, a reasonable level of certainty of that, we would accept the transactions. Today, and specifically in crypto, 80% of the fraud we see comes from verified accounts. So if you're a professional fraudster, you'll go through this first obstacle with no problem, and they all do. So the name of the game is very different, and the way we operate is by weaving a net so granular that even the weakest signals of a pattern is being captured, which then generates a question of scalability. How do you manage so many transactions, so much volume? And there are two aspects of it. First of all, obviously, you want to make sure that you spin a server just in a matter of hours to accommodate the ups and downs, because when the market is up, the volume goes up. When the market is down, it's going down. So you need to accommodate that. But more importantly, you will only achieve a a very high level of accuracy if you provide a dedicated model to your customer. This is a very high-touch model. How do you manage scalability in a context like this where you're high-touch? The answer to this is automation. We've managed to find technology where the machine is saying, okay, it's time for me to adapt to the changing environment of fraud, and we spin a new model.
So on the topic of AI, which is in the DNA of your company, there's a major thread of conversation around deep fakes and social engineering and synthetic IDs. Bots are pervasive. I think there's predictions they're going to take over the internet soon. So how do you handle that?
So you're absolutely right. I think the key to the accuracy that we provide to payment fraud prevention is AI and the way we're managing models that understand in an adaptive way how the landscape is changing. So we could not do it without AI. That's one thing. But the other thing is it's becoming a lot cheaper for fraudsters to manage, all the social engineering aspects of things. The automation is becoming a lot more cost effective for them. And so the type of fraud that we were discussing at the very beginning, we call that fraud at scale, massive fraud pressure. I think it's going to reach the rest of the market because it becomes economically viable for fraudsters to do it.
So it feels like you're in one of the niche aspects of blockchain where innovation, iteration, agility is sort of inherent in the game you're playing. So what does this world look like in 5 years from now? Like when you're looking into the future, how do you see companies like Ensure.ai playing a role in a different landscape there where we have agents, talking to agents and a lot of things happening at a more rapid iterative pace? Perhaps I can imagine more of an ID sort of protocol where you're sharing your ID that you verified one place with another. I'm just curious what your thoughts are in that world.
Yeah, so I think there's a big difference between organizations like ours who are AI natives and the rest of the world trying to adapt, where they're trying to put some AI, but also have a rules-based system and are focusing on digital identity authentication. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them. On the other hand, companies like ours who've started really with AI natively are uniquely positioned today to take over more segments. So we've started with what are the riskiest of the risky segments. If you know how to manage payment fraud prevention for crypto, as well as gaming and gift cards, then you'll be uniquely positioned in the next few years to take that down to the mainstream e-commerce, which I think is going to be hit with the same types of fraud pressure problems that we're seeing in the risky segments today.
Pascal, this has been a really insightful interview. We've had a number of security firms on, and we've talked to the insurance side. We haven't covered fraud at this level of granularity, so I really appreciate your insights today. Obviously, folks can go to Ensure.ai. And I assume you guys have a Twitter X account and that you're also on X?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on all the platforms. TG is pretty popular in the crypto world. So
where else should folks go to find you or your company besides the website?
Yeah, I think the website is probably the best thing to get started. And then we have lots of individual accounts that they can follow us on.
All right. Pleasure to meet you today and have this conversation.
Thank you very much.
We've reached the outer limit at the edge of show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on The Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.